This is our Cost of Brexit presentation. I'll be discussing the timeline of Brexit along with the implications it will have on trade. Hannah will then follow on to talk about the impact of Brexit on the economic sectors in Ireland and the effects on employment. Sarah will finish up by discussing the consequences for Northern Ireland and the changes in travel after Brexit. In June 2016, the UK citizens voted to leave the European Union by triggering Article 50 of the Treaty on European Union. The Brexit referendum is one of the most significant referendums in the history of the EU. The UK were due to leave the EU on the 29th of March 2019. This was later postponed when the then Prime Minister of the UK, Theresa May, requested to postpone the departure in a formal letter to the European Council on the 20th of March 2019. On January 31st, 2020, the UK officially left the EU after 47 years of membership. Both the UK and the EU agreed on a transition period that will last until December 31st, 2020, and during this transition period, all the EU laws will still apply to the UK. Members of the EU benefit from trading freely within the EU and being represented by them during international trade negotiations. Once the UK leave the EU, they will be an independent trader and will seek their own trade deals. From our research, we found that there are two main scenarios that may occur. A soft Brexit will entail little or no change in current tariff barriers that are in place as the UK will then be a member of the European Economic Area. By becoming a member of the EEA, the UK will have access to the EU single market as if they were still an EU member state. This is seen in Norway at the minute. A hard Brexit will mean that the UK must follow trade rules laid out by the World Trade Organization. This will lead to an increase in trading costs with the UK due to higher tariffs on goods that are imported. The UK's gross domestic product is currently 1/5 less than the EU's gross domestic product, as the UK spend more on foreign goods. This will therefore lead to the UK having little bargaining power during trade negotiations in which they will have to represent themselves.
As Lauren discussed, the cost of Brexit will have a negative impact on trade, and this will cause a knock-on effect to some of Ireland's economic sectors and ultimately GDP. Irish exports and imports of goods and services are expected to be hit hard in certain sectors such as the agri-food, pharmaceuticals, electrical machinery, retail services, and air transport. Ireland's food and drink sector supplies 230,000 jobs. The UK are our largest trading partner for food and drink, accounting for 41% of exports, creating an annual revenue of €4.4 billion for Ireland's economy. The UK imports 70% of prepared consumer foods, 56% of total meat exports, and 30% of total dairy exports. One of the most immediate impacts has been caused by the significant drop in the value of sterling compared to euro. According to IBEX report, a 1% weakening of sterling can result in a 0.7 decrease of Irish exports, causing losses of millions and thousands of jobs. This can cause limited capacity for Irish exporters to continue to drive efficiency in their business. Ireland's exports to the UK have grown strongly over the years, meaning that a decline in overall exports would cause a huge impact. The Irish retail market is one of the largest employing 275,000. A significant number of high street brands operate between Ireland and the UK, where a majority of the headquarters are located in the UK. Irish retailers also sell through UK online channels, as well as using supply chains that are tightly integrated within the UK. The introduction of potential tariffs will introduce costs and time delays for retailers with interlinked supply chains between the UK and the Republic. The UK may change their ways on packaging requirements, safety standards, and inspection compliances. This could again increase costs for Irish retailers. Next, I'll look at the employment sector. In the event that a no-deal Brexit were to occur, there would be a significant weakening of activity across many parts of the economy, which will have an impact on employment rates. According to the central bank, a no-deal scenario would cause for GDP growth to slow and fall, leading employment levels to fall by 73,000 in 2021, and for employment rates to rise by 5.8% in 2020 and 6.9% in 2021. Employment across the EU may be affected depending on the new trade terms that are negotiated. The introduction of duties, barriers, and restrictions to the flow of goods will cause impacts on EU economies in terms of turnovers and employment. An example of how unemployment could occur includes the agri-food sector, as we discussed previously, is one of the largest trade blocs with the UK, meaning that it will be exposed to the impacts. Changes such as new customs and regulatory requirements will be put in place, and this will increase the cost of trade, resulting in delays and pressure put on businesses financially. According to Fianna Fáil, 12,500 jobs are at risk in the agri-food sector. Next, I'll pass you on to Sarah, who will talk about the consequences of Brexit on Northern Ireland.
The Belfast/Good Friday Agreement was one set out between the UK and Ireland back in 1998 to prevent troubles between the two. They state that this led to the creation of the North-South Ministerial Council, which helped provide the North and the South with cooperation and coordination in the EU matters. Some of these matters are reliant on EU membership. As a result of Brexit, these agreements have to be reassessed and are an indication that the UK departure from the EU has a potential to create a border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The potential for the common travel area to be the same after Brexit is unlikely. Where the safe movement of workers may stay the same, the movement of goods, services and capital are not guaranteed. They state that the agreement is not only down to Ireland and Northern Ireland to decide between themselves, it's down to whether the EU accepts one of their member states trading with privileges to an outside state. Another possible threat is to free travel between the two would be passport control. In order to avoid having passport control at the border, the UK would have to accept that not having these controls would allow free travel between Ireland and Northern Ireland, but non-Irish EU citizens would not be allowed to avail of work, social welfare benefits or public services. As stated above, the EU, mainly the Republic of Ireland, was Northern Ireland's biggest exporter before Brexit. With the UK leaving the EU, this has the potential to weaken Northern Ireland's already fragile economy unless they are given access to the internal market. As stated above, Northern Ireland has received 13 billion since 1994 in EU funding. This is going to affect corporations that depend on EU funding. Northern Ireland has also benefited from the European Territorial Cooperation Programme, which provided social and economic stability. This has brought approximately 1.56 billion to the region from the EU. With the UK leaving the EU, Northern Ireland are going to lose all funding and grants as a result. I'm now going to talk about travel. Before Brexit, the UK had an agreement with the US called the Open Skies Agreement between the United States and the European Union. This is an agreement allowed them to access each other's markets. Britain now have to open up its own agreement with the countries such as the United States, Iceland and Switzerland with similar conditions. Before Brexit, passengers could only fly through the UK on the way to other countries in the EU and not have to go through customs and immigration. From December 21st, 2020, passengers will have to go through customs in both the UK and the following country. They will also have to have a passport as before they could travel with just a national ID card. According to the British government, travelling by train, ferries, cruises and buses between the UK and the other European countries will remain the same after Brexit. Before travelling on the Eurostar, passengers already go through passport control. This will remain the same. So to conclude, from the research we have conducted, it is clear to see that the political and economic consequences for Brexit for both the UK and the EU are considerable. The cost of Brexit on the UE are dependent on outcomes of a soft Brexit or a hard Brexit. The knock-on effect for trade on Ireland's businesses sectors are showing potential falls in the exports of goods and services. The implications of barriers, tariffs, and a change of value of currency will cause financial difficulties as certain business sectors. As we identified countries' access to EU that are exposed largely to UK markets will have impacted greater than others. These changes will force financial strains on businesses, putting jobs at risk and leading to fall in employment. With the chance of a hard border separating Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, it will have an effect on travel, employment, and trade between the two, meaning the two need to come to an agreement on these matters.